because I've seen the Cash Apps. Um, I've seen their advertised. I saw the thing with Megan Thee Stallion. So I was thinking, well, maybe this is a way for their demographic that they're focusing on, their target market, which seems to be minorities. Maybe that is their way to kind of help them get into cryptocurrency. I didn't think that it was a way for payday lending. All right, y'all. So joining me today for the conversation is a very special guest. He's here to talk about blockchain, and his new company, PerceptForm, is Chris Perceptions. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your time.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your company first.
So PerceptForm is an end-to-end ecosystem that deals in blockchain technology within 4 verticals. So that's finance, education, art, and real estate. So there are a lot of different ways in which these outputs will change the world. And we're seeing that now with the most famous of his predecessors being Bitcoin. So we'll get into the differences between blockchain and Bitcoin. But just for time's sake, I'll say it this way. Without blockchain technology, there would be no Bitcoin. So there's a huge differentiating piece there. But that's part of the reason why, again, we have the educational vertical. So we have students all over the world learning about things from NFTs to just cryptocurrency in general. We have partnerships with some of the best of the best in real estate, in art, such as art funds and galleries, as well as Hill Harper and Naja Roberts, the Black Wall Street Digital Wallet, which is a Black-owned exchange and digital wallet. So there's a lot of momentum and a lot of synergy in this space, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful to be able to be building the future. And in reference to myself,
Right.
So I come from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised, and I've lived a little bit of everywhere from LA, Chicago, South Africa, and I am a newly planted how do you say it?
North Carolinian.
Thank you. I'm still trying to get my lingo together. So
Yeah.
my wife, my daughter, myself, we moved to North Carolina. So we are still in the process of getting things officially rooted here, but definitely felt a pull and a call here. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, sounds good. And so a lot of people don't know what blockchain is. I actually took a class over the summer all about blockchain technology. We talked about cryptocurrency, of course, but I had heard of blockchain, but I really didn't understand the components of it or how it worked until taking that class. So for the people watching this, can you kind of simplify blockchain and kind of explain it? What is blockchain?
Sure. Blockchain, if we were to break it down literally with the word blockchain. So block, imagine data put in a box. It's like a block. And then imagine a chain connected to that, connecting it to another block. So that's literally blockchain technology. It's a secure way to transfer data. That data could be art, that data could be records, it could be escrow, it could be real estate. The data is very interchangeable in that sense. But again, its most famous iteration at this particular point is cryptocurrency. So that's Bitcoin, that's Ethereum, etc.
Okay. And so how do you think blockchain technology and your company specifically can help change the landscape of financing? Specifically, I guess we can start specifically in America, and then how could it help in developing countries? Because I know that there's different ways that blockchain and cryptocurrency can help in those two dynamics.
Sure. So from the standpoint of America, and I'll just call a spade at this particular moment, regarding African Americans and the system that we currently are in, it is not a level playing field by and large, because they may have certain laws, quote unquote, change, but at the end of the day, they're still humans that have biases, that are in positions of power, that can, make your taxes go high. And then as you leave a community and a person who doesn't have melanin can move into that same house, and then all of a sudden the taxes can go lower. Or there's so many games that could be played. I don't have to necessarily go through it, but we
Mhm.
could just talk statistics. We make up a decent amount of this population, roughly 13%, and we're approved for 6% of mortgages. We own less than 1% of land. For every dollar that a white household holds, Black households have roughly 10 cents. There's a lot that is definitely wrong with the current system in America regarding marginalized communities, i.e., Black people.
Mhm.
The beauty about blockchain technology is that it doesn't care about your ethnic makeup. It doesn't care about your gender. It doesn't care about your religion. All it cares about is equations, ones and zeros. And these things cannot inherently be made racist. Now, there are instances where, like with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and this is why we have to get our people in those seats or in those places where this technology is being created.
Mhm.
There was an instant where a company, I won't say their name,
Mhm.
they're piloting artificial intelligence and machine learning within the automotive industry. And this vehicle didn't recognize a Black person as a person. So the car hit that person.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, it's
my
crazy.
gosh.
It's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. I
Yeah,
hadn't done
so
that.
yeah. So it's one of
Oh
those
God.
things where we have to be on the cutting edge of this. And again, the beauty of blockchain is we won't have the wiggle room for that. Now, with machine learning and artificial intelligence, we're talking like apples, peaches, pineapples. Like these are completely different things,
Right.
but they are somewhat related in a sense. So that's one way, one mechanism where um, blockchain technology's value proposition is very high. It isn't racist, and we can truly build a system that is fair. Now,
Mhm.
globally speaking, there's this thing called remittance, where and if people are immigrants or they come from other countries or their parents come from other countries, this is going to be a really good value prop for you. I have a brother of mine in South Africa, and I sent him some Bitcoin. I sent him a decent amount, and it didn't take a government clearinghouse. It didn't take any sort of middleman, didn't take any sort of crazy fees like a wire fee, which can be anywhere from $5 to $40 to $50, minimal fees. And it didn't even take several days or hours. I was able to send him something peer to peer like this within 5 to 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And that's huge because there are so many um, checkpoints that things have to go through regarding finances. So with Bitcoin, we have something that is truly decentralized. We have something that is truly able to connect the world as not only a payment network, but also a peer-to-peer system that does not need government oversight.
There's no middleman with this.
Correct.
Okay, that's awesome. Because I don't think a lot of people know that. They probably think, I've talked to a few people about cryptocurrency. A lot of people don't really understand how it works at all. So that's why I wanted to point that out. So there's no middleman, there's no like banking system that's managing cryptocurrency. It's basically it's the blockchain that's managing it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So how is it secure if there's no financial institution basically making sure that everything is where it should be, or
Great
no
question.
government involvement?
Yeah, great question. I've had people say, so I don't have a customer service number I could call.
All
I
right.
can't troubleshoot. So I get that. And I'll answer this in two ways.
Okay.
One, it is secure by design, literally. So again, going back to that iteration of blockchain, what does that look like? It is a secure way to transport data. Not only is it secure, but it's trustless. I don't have to trust you to send you Bitcoin. I can look and see, okay, she has a Bitcoin wallet address. I could even look at all your transactions. You could look at mine if you have my Bitcoin wallet
Oh, okay.
address.
Nice.
But the cool thing is, there's no identifying factor. It's not like I can put my social security number in a transaction. It
Mhm.
simply is covered through cryptography, which again is really secure technology. So from the standpoint of me sending you Bitcoin, it can be as pseudo anonymous as we would like it. There are other cryptocurrencies that are even more private. They're borderline completely anonymous. So there's so many ways in which this is secure. Now, from the standpoint of what most people may be thinking, will I lose my money if I send this?
Mhm.
There are minimal transaction fees depending on what kind of blockchain you're using. So with Bitcoin, they have what's called minor fees. Most people would look, okay, what's a minor fee? Is
Mhm.
it MINOR or is it MINER? It's the second one. A miner is someone that validates the transaction.
Mhm.
So you have people all over the world that are constantly monitoring the blockchain by way of Bitcoin's blockchain.
Mhm.
And they're making sure that transactions are good, and they're validating it, confirming it globally, saying, hey, Chris is sending Bitcoin to this young lady.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that this is a valid transaction. It is cool. We'll push it through. And this is the difference between something that is centralized versus decentralized. So, from the standpoint of safety,
Mhm.
let's look at the American dollar.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve, which is a private entity, not federal at all,
Mhm.
private entity, prints out the US dollar. But there are a few interesting things. The US dollar is not backed by anything. It
Mhm.
was backed by gold at one point, but
Yeah,
it's not backed by
1980.
anything. But the interesting fact is, not only is it not backed by gold, but it's simply an IOU based off of trust.
Mhm.
So we're dealing with something that is digital and trustless, but verifiable, versus something that is, hey, I got you, like it's cool, just trust me, sincerely America. We're talking about a centralized entity that controls monetary policy that affects the world, right?
Mhm.
And even with COVID, a lot of the money that was printed by way of these stimulus checks was roughly 24 to 27% of all circulating US dollars. So if we also couple that with a statement that any of you all can Google, where a person from the Federal Reserve said, we can print an infinite amount of money. That's their words, not mine. So if we're talking about inflation,
Mhm.
which is already beginning to happen, used
Mhm.
cars prices, housing prices,
Housing.
especially
Yeah.
in North Carolina, is
Yeah.
wild right now.
It's wild.
But it's good for sellers. So this is one of those things where we're talking about a centralized entity.
Mhm.
If you strike the Federal Reserve, then everything else will fall within that system. Now, if someone were to strike a mining facility, there are globally so many more. Like you can't shut down the blockchain. It's literally super secure in
Mhm.
that sense. So that's one way. Now, from the standpoint of will I lose my money?
Yeah.
Can I call somebody if I have any issues? Is there customer support? There are platforms and there are companies that are trying to be that bridge to this new world. But we
Okay.
want to be the most frictionless onboarding and offboarding point for people, specifically our community. So, what
Mhm.
does that look like? That looks like oversight, that looks like quality control, that looks like ensuring that there are checkpoints where people can feel safe and secure in the experience, because the technology is already safe, but it's that experience with something that's unknown. That's the piece where people are really going to need a guide, and we want to be that guide.
Right. Okay. And so when you have, so that's a really great explanation on how blockchain works, security of it. Now it's new and there's so many other companies trying to get in. For
Mm-hmm.
example, Facebook DM.
Mm-hmm.
They are, and for people who don't know about Facebook DM, it's basically Facebook getting involved in the cryptocurrency world. And I believe that they're pretty much targeting developing countries. I don't think their reception has been too good in developed countries
Mm-hmm.
like the United States, France, places throughout Europe. And just for
Mm-hmm.
the people who's watching, so developed countries, like I said, United States, France, places throughout Europe, and then countries that are developing are kind of like what people would call like third world countries. I hate to
Mm-hmm.
kind of use that terminology, but
Me too.
yeah, but that's kind of like what people identify as like
Mm-hmm.
third world. Is like they're still in the developing process.
Right.
So like what is And you're familiar with Facebook DM,
Mhm.
correct? So how would your company compete with these big organizations like Facebook, who's getting into the cryptocurrency game as well? What advantages does your company have versus the competition?
Great question. We don't view Facebook as competition
Okay.
because we want two different things. They want, I'll let my words be few there. They want something completely different than
Okay.
what we want. I'll say
Okay.
it that way.
Okay.
A more, I think, fair competitive analysis would be PayPal. So PayPal, after years of saying, no, we're not interested in cryptocurrency. No, we're not interested in cryptocurrency. Hey, we're going to let people buy cryptocurrency. It's like, for one, their platform lied to people who already read rumors online. So that's kind of a
Yeah.
sketch from an integral
I didn't
standpoint.
even know PayPal was getting into cryptocurrency until
Oh,
just now.
there's an entire list. JP Morgan,
Mhm.
Bitcoin is a scam, yet they're offering it now to their ultra high net worth individual clients. But
Very
that's
interesting.
neither here nor there. Just,
Yeah.
as Chris Tucker said in that one movie, Rush Hour, follow the money, follow the money.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But PayPal, they are offering the ability for people to buy cryptocurrency. Now, the caveat is, for people who don't know, that sounds great. It's like, I have PayPal, my business has a PayPal account. This is cool.
Hmm.
What they're not telling you is, at the time of launch, you could only buy and hold on their platform. So if PayPal goes down for maintenance and Bitcoin hits $1 million and you want to sell, you're stuck because they have your Bitcoin.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there are a lot of different instances where it's strange. Now they're getting to the point where it's like, well, we're going to allow for people to withdraw their Bitcoin now. So for us, with us, we're leading with education, and we're creating a system that is vertically integrated. So our user flow is a little different, and
Mhm.
we zoom out. We're looking at years of customer retention or user retention,
Mhm.
because we understand the unique needs of the minority, i.e., a Black person. Um, and I've also been my demographic. I've looked at, what are the four pillars of creating wealth? It's life insurance, stocks, real estate, and as well as your own business or a business in some way, shape, or form. So with those four, how many of those have been readily accessible to the minority? Maybe life insurance, if someone told you, or if someone unfortunately passed and then you learn that they had a policy.
Mhm.
And then if someone was able to pass down to you a home, that's about it. From the standpoint of stocks, we just had Robinhood and maybe E-Trade, Charles Schwab,
Mhm.
Fidelity. But a lot of that knowledge was still kind of above us. We could sign up for an account, but we couldn't necessarily pick dividend bearing stocks and calculate how much I need to invest so that I can live off the dividends so that I can get my iPhone for free. Like, no one told us that information. So for us, we want to literally, from 0 to 100, we want to have that entire space covered. So with PayPal, they're looking at it from the standpoint of merchants. With Cash App, they're looking at it from the standpoint of demographic focus. So they want everyone,
Mhm.
but they're really putting a lot of marketing dollars behind Black people, i.e., Megan the Stallion giving away $1 million in Bitcoin, doing a 2 to 3 minute video teaching people, with Cash App branding, what Bitcoin is.
Mhm.
But they're kind of setting themselves up to be a payday lender in your pocket. They have
Oh,
an
wow.
industrial. I'm sorry.
I said, oh, wow, that's crazy. I didn't think about it like that with PayPal
Yeah.
because I've seen the Cash Apps. Um, I've seen their advertise. I saw the thing with Megan Thee Stallion.
Hmm.
So I was thinking, well, maybe this is a way for their demographic that they're focusing on, their target market, which seems to be minorities. Maybe
Hmm.
that is their way to kind of help them get into cryptocurrency. I didn't think that it was a way for payday lending. So can you explain that a little bit?
Sure, they have, and you can, everything I'm saying, you all can validate. You can do your research, and it'll pop up.
Mhm.
But literally, they have the same license as American Express. It's an industrial banking license. For people who use Square, you may have gotten a notification that said, hey, not only can you accept Square, or not only can you use Square to accept payment, not only do you have this Square card where you could transfer to a bank account, your Square card is now its own bank account. So they rolled it out there first. But Jack Dorsey, who's the co-founder of Twitter, also founded Square and Cash App, recently bought Tidal, a lion share amount of Tidal. So he's setting up a play here. I don't know him personally, but just from looking at certain moves, and looking at things that they've done in the past, they had this thing that they were piloting called Cash App Borrow. So if you needed to, you could go through Cash App and you can borrow at said interest amount. But realistically, if they're spending millions on advertising towards African Americans to just get on Cash App, then to campaign for them to onboard in a cryptocurrency through Cash App, once they fully launch that borrowing piece, it's going to be crazy because you can only leverage a situation like that, such as credit or even borrowing or a loan, if you have financial literacy, if you have a plan. Now, if you look at this thing that's easy as 1, 2, 3, and you can borrow $1,000, $100, and you're not necessarily aware of timing and penalties and all of that, it could put people in a really bad situation. So it might not be as obvious as a 20 to 50% interest loan, but it's coming. It's coming. So it's one of those things where people just really need to be aware.
Awesome. So tell us more about your company and the educational piece, because I think that's going to be one of the biggest parts of it. So many people, they don't know about cryptocurrency. They don't know about even a lot of, just investing in general. With the traditional way of investing, Roth IRAs, other forms of investing, IRAs, 401ks, some people don't even know kind of how that works. So can you tell us how is your company going to educate? Is it just through modules? Is it online learning? Kind of explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, all of the above. So I've done webinars, I've done situations where we've spoken to large bodies of people, done courses. The courses really seem to go off very well, and that is really our sweet spot. So from the time of COVID to present day, we rolled out roughly 2 to 3 courses, and we have almost 900 students globally. So this is content that they can constantly go back to. But for us, we're in the background secretly blueprinting and building out our own educational portal. So people will be able to go, they'll be able to be incentivized to learn. So it's one thing to learn because you need to, it's another thing to be kind of like paid to learn or incentivized to learn. So as you're learning about cryptocurrency, you would receive cryptocurrency that could be used to redeem courses within this platform. It could be premium access. It could be a lot of different things. So yeah, that's one aspect that we're doing with education, but absolutely open to consulting, and I've consulted with families. Yeah, so the education piece is huge, and we're definitely building out a portal for that, not only for merchants who may be leveraging PerceptPay, but also for people who just want to learn in general. Is really important.
Just to kind of wrap things up, where do you see cryptocurrency going, let's just say within the next 10 years? And how can your platform, PerceptPay, like where are y'all going to be in that? How are you going to, what will be your place in the world of cryptocurrency? And where is cryptocurrency going just in the next decade?
Bitcoin within this decade will easily hit 500,000, if not $1 million, easy.
For one Bitcoin, y'all.
For
is
one.
What you're saying, right?
Yeah, and there's a strategy even to that. So for people who might not want to be like me and just nerd out on this stuff all the time, there's a way for you to even get in. Statistically speaking, and we can talk about scarcity, which is another value proposition. Comparing a US dollar, which is inflated, can print infinite amount,
Hmm.
Bitcoin only has 21 million.
Right.
There are billions of people on the earth. There's not enough Bitcoin for everybody. And it's scarce in that aspect. It's trustless, it's decentralized, it's digital. There's no government oversight. The value propositions are stacked. So for people who have a fraction of a full Bitcoin, excuse me, you don't have to have one full Bitcoin to be a part of this global network.
And I think that's important to say because I don't think people know that.
Yeah, just like there's 100 pennies in a dollar,
Mhm.
there are smaller units of Bitcoin that can be acquired. So you can get into Bitcoin with just $1, $10. I had this campaign going called 100 Days of Bitcoin. And if you're on Instagram, you can hashtag 100 Days of BTC. All of the videos will pop up. Roughly 100 videos of just free content, just educating people about what Bitcoin is and some of the partners that we're working with and things of that nature. So we always preach dollar cost average. I'm a husband of one daughter and another one coming in November. So I completely understand families that might look at dollars and say, hey, I have a few coins I could rub together and I can like throw over here.
Yeah.
I'm just not trying to lose money. And I can even speak to that. If you zoom out from the time that Bitcoin was launched to present day, it's only gone up 200,000 plus percent, period. Now, what mainstream media often likes to do is they want to highlight the short-term volatility. There
Hmm.
is short-term
Exactly.
volatility,
Hmm.
but comparing apples to apples, your business account that has a savings account, you might be able to get 1%, 2% back. If you were to compare apples to apples, 1 year in Bitcoin versus 1 year in your savings, Bitcoin would crush your savings account easy,
Hmm.
even with the short-term volatility. So just keep that piece in mind. You can dollar cost average into Bitcoin. It could be $1 a day, $10 a day, could be 40 a month, and you just treat it like your savings account. You don't touch it, you just let it be. And a lot of people who have done that, I'm not giving financial advice, but I can say this. That's about it. So now from the standpoint of my company, um, from the traditional side of things, we want to be a unicorn, and we think that's achievable within 10 years for sure. There are companies that are worth $1 billion, and that's the unicorn term that I'm making reference to.
Mhm.
There are companies in the crypto space that are unicorns that came to $1 billion valuation within 3 years. So it's possible. It's
Mhm.
definitely possible. But I feel as though before we reach $1 billion in evaluation, we're probably going to touch 1 billion people through crypto education, through financial services, through cryptocurrency, through partnerships with museums and galleries and consulting with artists regarding how they can truly own their intellectual property and gain from it by leveraging the blockchain, specifically NFTs. And even for developers, helping developers raise capital quicker by leveraging the blockchain or by offering to people the ability to have equity through fractional ownership in property.
Mhm.
Those are some of the outliers, some of the pathways where my company will be able to really impact people. We have a lot on the way,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited for it. I'm super, super grateful to God for the opportunity to be alive in this time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Before we end this, can you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find more information about your company online?
Sure. So perceptform.tech is the official company site, perceptpay.com. We're slowly opening up our beta. You can just sign up for a notification and we'll onboard you in as we can. There's a lot of interest. From the standpoint of education, we have a site that has all of our courses, simplycryptocurrency.com. And we have more courses on the way. You also can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at CMPGFB. And that's that. Just, stay safe, wear your mask,
Right.
and that's that.
Okay, sounds good. Now, it's called PerceptForm, but the payment portion is called PerceptPay. Is that correct? I want to make
Yes.
sure. Okay.
Yep. So if people are interested in learning about my company, certain partners that we have, initiatives, things like that, that's perceptform.tech. But the payment piece that we're slowly opening up as we're in beta is perceptpay.com. So you just sign up to be notified.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, that's all I have. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that everyone watching, if you have to go back and watch this video again, because it was a lot of information, especially if you're not familiar with blockchain and cryptocurrency, which a lot of people aren't. So I get it. But I hope this video was great for everyone watching. And Chris, thank you so much. I've known Chris and his wife for a few years. And so it's really great to see you guys getting into this business. And I think it's going to be great. It's already doing well. So congratulations on that.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a grind. Let me tell you, Lord, it's been a grind. God will give you a vision, but he won't tell you like the process on how to like get to it.
Exactly.
I got some stories for you. Investors lying to me, family going crazy, all of that stuff. But then when Bitcoin start hitting the news, they're all looking at me like, oh, I'm like, I was trying to tell you, but you know, no one listens until it's too late. It's all good.
Exactly. Y'all don't be too late now. Don't be too late.
Facts. Before Bitcoin hits 100, well, no, before Bitcoin hits 250,000, you still got time. Okay. After that, it's gonna be a little tough. It's gonna be a little tough. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Chris. Thank you so much, and you have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate you.